Now, do you do any like resales? Like, would you sell their home if they were thinking about moving?
Yeah. So we're actually doing, we're working on a pretty big platform starting Q1 of 2025 on listings. So,
Cool.
I work with so many buyers, especially on the new construction side. So I'm bringing in, I actually have a guy that's also coming in today to interview, to be on the team. So I'll have two guys. This gentleman is going to be focusing on other builders. So I'm working on having specialists. So like I obviously know like the Schell product inside and out. I know all the models, all the communities. And while I know all of the other builders also, it's like I find it amazing when you look at realtors that are selling, and kudos if they do a great job with it. But how can you sell in like multiple states and all this stuff and be the specialist, be so fine tuned and know everything that's going on in every town, community, state, whatever. Like there's people that are selling Delaware, Maryland, PA, New Jersey. I'm like, how in the world are you the expert in each thing? I mean, I primarily do just coastal Delaware.
Yeah.
And, that's pretty much it. Just along, Route 1, towards like from like 113 to the water. How in the world are people doing the entire state of Delaware, let alone Maryland and PA? So, I figured, because I specialize so much on the new construction and, I know so much about Schell, I should bring in someone that their focus is going to be K. Hovnanian, and someone who like their focus is D.R. Horton. So when someone is looking at those specific builders, we all will know. So if someone comes in primarily with Schell and they start looking at K-Hub, I'm educated. I can handle. I don't have to hand them off. I can handle them through the whole process. Yeah. But these guys, that's their focus. But then also I'm having someone who's going to be focusing on listings.
Good.
Because
so it's all in house. So anything people come in, you've got a person for it.
We are in-house to the point of we have in-house lenders. We have an in-house attorney. So like when someone, let's say they are like buying a resale, there's one door, that front door. That's the only door that they'll ever use.
Yeah. Good.
They'll come in on closing day. They'll have a, congratulations picture up on the TV here. The settlement attorney will come here. Now, obviously, if they decide they want to use someone else, that's perfectly fine. And we'll ask their settlement attorney, will they come here to the office? If they don't want to, well, then that's it. But if they decide to use the attorneys that we work with, they've all agreed that they will come here. That way they're greeted by the same person, using the same door, the same parking lot. There's no confusion. So we really want to be that one-stop shop. So whether it's buying, selling, building, it's, you go to the Cory Mayo Team. So that's kind of our premise, why I've invested so much into the office and everything. But I don't know, it's so many people are coming from out of the area and it's like, where do I go now? And, so I just figured, let's just one-stop shop it.
Yeah,
just,
so easy.
Keep the continuity and the lenders and attorneys that we, I use the word lightly, recommend, but, I've had experience with that do a good job. They kind of have a similar idea and premise of how customer service is supposed to be from how we handle things. So I want that continuity as well. When they call, I want, our preferred lender to answer, and he does. He's fantastic. Steve is like, the guy is a workhorse, and that's what I want them to experience the same way that they service that they get here. So it's kind of all that. But, on the resale side, we have a pretty strong push for Q1 that we're going to be really focusing on going after the new build, communities. Yeah, I mean, we'll list a house that was built in 1980s.
Yeah.
But we know so much about the guts of how the different builders are building homes that we're not just selling bedrooms and bathrooms, we're selling the whole package because we know how the home was constructed. We know the community. We were there like when they broke ground, for that community because it's our such a high level of our focus. So that's going to kind of be our big push for 2025. And again, I don't want to, redirect my efforts in what I've been doing so well with. Yeah. So I don't want to spread myself thin because, again, I don't know how, hey, there's agents that can do all of this and that's great. I want to, be able to be super laser focused and continue to offer the service I do. And I feel like if I get spread too thin, So, I still do listings, and I think I do a pretty good job of
Yeah.
it. But I'm going to have, another guy that's like his primary,
Yeah.
job is, listing.
I'm
so.
excited to see what, is all to come in 2025 for you. It's
Yeah,
exciting.
it'll be fun. Not to go too far off into the Compass thing, because I changed over from Compass in the beginning of September, but our support has been, what is given to us as agents has been awesome. So, we have such, a high level of support that's here. So I'm like, let's really capitalize on that support that's there, and so that we can continue to kind of move the needle and keep going the way that we're going.
Yeah.
And start selling more homes at the estates at Bridgewater.
Yes, definitely.
So how are things going down there?
It's going well. We're staying busy. So one thing that's new and exciting is our model leaseback is available. So we just got the pricing for that.
That's a Stonefield.
It's a Stonefield, yeah. So it's just finishing construction right now. Settlement would be like January, February of 25.
Let's see. So is it on lot 1?
It's on lot 40.
Oh, okay. And so it's going to be a pond view. 1-story or 2-story Stonefield?
It's a 2-story home, and I'm just pulling up the details. So,
Well, and the cool thing about the Stonefield, for people that haven't been in, well, I'm going to kind of even broaden it a little bit wider and say the Easy Living series of homes, not all of them, the majority of them. In those like main living spaces, they've got, you stretched out to 12-foot ceilings, which gives you more windows and more light. But it really stretches out that feel of the home.
Yeah.
They're wider than the Coastal Cottage series, like your lilacs and irises. But then when you add that second story, and I don't know, because I haven't seen too many Stonefields. You can probably answer this much better. Does that do a loft, or is it just a staircase off of the great room that goes up? Or?
you can choose it. When you're
really?
doing our typical normal build, you could choose it either as a loft, which, is open to below, or the bonus room. The model leaseback, the second level has a finished bonus room and an extra bedroom and bathroom. So altogether, it's 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. So it's a very spacious home. It's like 3,100 square feet. So that's available. So we're really excited to get that rolling. And hopefully come the new year, we will no longer be working out of our sales trailer, and we will graduate and start working over in the model home. So we're really excited about that.
Super excited to be out of the, as cool as the sales trailer is.
Yeah.
It's much nicer to be in a model home.
Looking forward to that for sure.
Now, are there other sticks in the ground? Other homes that are being currently under construction
We
on there?
currently have 5 other homes under construction.
Perfect.
Actually, this upcoming Sunday, we have a hard hat tour scheduled.
Cool.
So now that we have some homes under construction, it's actually all 5 different floor plans.
Really?
So we invited a ton of prospects out, and we've got the hard hats, and we're gonna do like a hard hat tour and walk through some of the homes under construction.
So what are there? So obviously you have the Stonefield. We know that because that's the model. So they can walk a Stonefield. What else is under construction? I'm going to assume a Monterey.
We also have a Monterey.
I figured a Monterey.
The Southport, the Lilac, and the Sanibel.
Oh, really?
We've got one Sanibel going up.
And I have actually never been in a Sanibel, so
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So how far along is the Sanibel?
This one just started, so they're working on the foundation now, and then framing will be going up soon.
Okay.
So.
No, that's great. And so
and then we also have a Kingfisher that the framing's already up for that one.
Now, yes, because this is kind of unique. There's were a couple sites that could fit a Courtyard Series home that would being just the Kingfisher. As a lot of this is a mixture of the Coastal Cottage and the Easy Living, with the Kingfisher kind of splashed in there.
Yeah.
So there were a couple, and I'm assuming they were like more the bigger pie-shaped home sites.
Yeah, so the ones like 46, this one is the Kingfisher, the 44 is the Sanibel.
Okay.
We've got a couple Kingfishers along the creek in the 30s. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow. So
We'll have a Wimbrel as well.
Really? Okay.
And a Waterford.
Where can you fit a Waterford?
On 34.
Really?
Yeah, so we're excited about that one too.
So, and that's sold. That's under contract.
Sold, yeah.
So there are some kind of case by case scenarios to where, while it's advertised of saying, hey, the only courtyard series that we're offering right now is going to be the Kingfisher. There are some circumstances to where, you can say, hey, we can see if a sheer water can fit on one of these home sites. I just saw. So like maybe 129, you could maybe fit something on.
Well, it's all about going through our process and narrowing down which floor plan would work the best for you.
Sure.
And if it is the Kingfisher or the Shearwater or one that's not listed on our site, even though we're not marketing it, we're going to do what we can.
Sure.
If it fits, we're gonna go
awesome.
and do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have that you guys allow a little bit of that flexibility kind of in the back end. Obviously, you're not going to advertise a Waterford when it can fit on one lot.
Right.
Because someone may decide they want to put something else on that lot. But that's cool that you guys are willing and open. I had someone who wanted a Cassidy in Peninsula Lakes, and they don't advertise it because the lots are a little bit shallower. Really, really wanted it. And so literally they went through and did a lot fit on pretty much every home site to see where it would fit. And we came up with the 3 that it fit on. And, it wasn't a lot that they wanted, but that's okay. At least we ruled that out. But it's nice to know that you guys are willing to take that extra step and, go the extra mile to see how that fits. 40 is going to be great. Especially with that Stonefield in there. The one cool thing about a Stonefield that a lot of people might not know if they haven't looked at it is that it has that little like hall off the foyer and the garage that gives you an ensuite bedroom.
Yes, that is one of the
super cool.
Something that's so special about the Stonefield. It's most of our floor plans have 2 extra guest rooms and 1 shared bath, where the Stonefield, each guest room has its own bathroom. So it's nice, especially if you have like an adult guest coming to stay with you. It's not really like a second owner suite or anything, but it feels more like an ensuite.
Yeah, like I had someone who was interested. They have, a parent's going to come live with them.
Perfect.
And it's, if you're looking at Monterey, which is a fantastic floor plan, but it would be, having, yes, this has its own bathroom, but it's not, you still have this kind of casing opening here. So this is a true ensuite, so she can get ready and everything without having any exposure to any outside part of the house in any way. So that it's, and in a house of this width, I would never have expected to see an additional ensuite bedroom. Like when I see that in a Cassidy, of course, things 2,600 square feet to start or whatever, it's a monster. Whereas, this home, to see that in there is fantastic. And the other thing about the Stonefield, which, I just think is really cool, and a lot of people may not know this, I believe this is the only floor plan that has a window in the kitchen.
I was just going to point that out. Yeah, that's another very special feature about the Stonefield. Most of our floor plans has the kitchen sink on the island, where this one has it on an exterior wall and a window here as well. So if you are doing your dishes, you can check out the window.
Yeah. And it just allows to get some extra natural light, whereas when you look at, and I'm trying to think of any floor plan that has a window in it at all, even if the sink was in the island, a lot of you get your natural light from the eat-in area, the dining space, from the great room, whatever. This actually has a window that allows more natural light to come in.
I'm actually trying to think right now, and I can't think of one.
Yeah, I can't. It's typically always kind of more centered, and they utilize, because when you put a window there, you lose some cabinet space, but this kitchen's big enough. I mean, there's a gazillion cabinets. Yeah. So it's really cool. And it's not something that you see frequently. And when you do this kitchen with the command center, it is like
oversized.
Yeah. It is a wow factor. It is. And then you come out of, when you see the ceiling line, I believe this is where it jumps from the 10 or the 9 standard 9 foot and then goes to the 12 foot.
Yes, you got it.
So it's a big,
and that's the standard
big jump.
Yeah, it's a standard ceiling height. So.
And if you did this in one story, you can vault this.
You can.
Which makes it even bigger. Not that you necessarily have to, because 12 feet, when you're in it, it's really hard to explain. And then especially if you do the additional sunroom,
Oh yeah.
I think, in the Stonefield, there's certain floor plans I'm like, oh, that sunroom's nice or whatever. When you see it in that Stonefield and it stretches this great room out even more so, it's just beautiful. And that 12-foot ceiling just kind of like stretches all the way through.
The Leaseback, we do have a sunroom on the
Oh
model.
yeah,
So
awesome.
you'll get to see it in person.
Awesome, yeah, because I just think it makes that house.
Yeah.
It really does. It's such a good floor plan. That's cool. Yeah, I'll make and that is. What's the price on that Leaseback?
The Leaseback, it's listed for 1.2, and the Leaseback terms is $5,000 a month. And
That's actually pretty good.
yeah, we would pay utilities, maintenance, and landscaping, and the homeowners would pay the HOA fees.
Okay, and is that a two-year Leaseback?
12-month Leaseback with quarterly extensions
Okay.
up to a year.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Up to 2 years, excuse me.
Well, and the other thing that a lot of people aren't aware of, and this is something that you guys do a little bit different compared to other builders when it comes to leasebacks, is that literally when you guys are done, you like grab your computers and papers and walk out. Like you leave forks and spoons, like everything, every picture with you guys in it and everything. People get it all. But these homes, a lot of builders, they build a house and then they bring in a decorator to say, okay, let's now design this. The selections team and Decor Direct, who's your interior design company team, work on this from like the beginning. Like, it's like they almost went into like your sales center together and said, let's build a home. And they work together as like what color tile, flooring, based upon the curtains and everything else. And it is so cohesive.
Yeah.
And, and you're getting on average $100,000.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Maybe more in some homes, in furniture, because you're not using IKEA furniture. These are used by Decor Direct as like showrooms, are they not? So like Decor Direct is like, we want to put really nice furniture so people can really see what it would be like if this was their living room. So they're getting like really beautiful high-end furniture and finishes. And I mean, curtains alone. I mean, I don't even know how much is being spent on curtains. When you have 12-foot curtain runs, I mean, that's just crazy. So yeah, no, that's, if someone is looking at a leaseback, that's, a great one, especially if you're looking to be in the South. Because there's not a lot of options for leasebacks down there, number one.
The location is another, so special about Bridgewater, because we're 5 miles from Fenwick Island.
Yeah, I was just looking. I pulled it up on Google Maps here, and this is it right here. And so, how do you say the name of the creek? Because I get it wrong every time. Derrickson. I say Dickerson sometimes, and I say so. Good. Okay. Yeah. So the Derrickson Creek, it is on it. Number one, and there is access, or there will be.
There will be. Yeah.
Okay.
Our community center. So we'll have the 2-story waterfront clubhouse. Inside the clubhouse, there's a fitness center, a yoga room, a conference center, a game room, and a bar and lounge. And then outside of the clubhouse, there is the outdoor pool, the playground, and the pickleball courts. We're just working on getting the final plans for the clubhouse. And I just saw the draft of it, and I'm so excited. I can't wait till we can start sharing the plans and the marketing for it, because it's so special, and it's more than what I expected. So that's going to be amazing.
And this is non-powered launching or just kayaks and like paddleboards?
Yeah, so part of the amenity will have 2 piers, and then there'll be 24 docks altogether.
Oh, really?
So 22 of those docks will get sold and deeded to the homeowners, and then the other 2 docks will be day docks, so like transient.
Yeah.
Along with that, we'll have the kayak launch as well.
Very cool. Now, if they decide to buy a dock, that will be deeded separate from their home?
Yes.
So if they sell their home, and I'm just, thinking, way far ahead, it's just nature of the beast. If they sell their home, they could still keep their dock and then sell the dock separately?
That's a good question. I think they would be able to resell their dock if they wanted to, or keep it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's great. And so, and is there a launch also? So if someone has a boat, okay, so no launch, so you would have to launch somewhere else, and then bring your boat around and then dock up at your slip. That's cool. No, that's great. And I've been down to Dickerson Creek a number of times. It's not like crazy waters. So going out there on a kayak is totally like normal. It's
yeah.
not something it's like, well, I'm gonna get run over by a boat or jet skier. So that's a really nice feature to have right there from the community. But when I was looking at this, and kind of one of the kind of major monument points or something, an area that people use is going to be, the Freeman, Art Center or Bayside as people. So it is like literally, I didn't map it out, but I'm going to guess a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Less than, I was going to say 5 minutes at the top.
Like it's
the only thing which adding a little extra minutes is where you get to Lighthouse Road, you have to make a right.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to loop
here,
around, but
you make the right
it's
and then
such
come
a
in.
quick, easy drive. Right around the corner.
And then if you were to come in, obviously that gets you to Bayside. And for anyone that hasn't gone to the Freeman Arts Pavilion, it's an awesome venue. Like really, really awesome venue. Like so clean. Mm-hmm. We were blown away. We went there for the first time this summer. Blown away. Like bathrooms, spotless, clean. The venues are very good sounding, and they have like really like legit acts.
Yeah.
Legit artists that come there and perform. It's not just people from around here that are like So it's a really great venue to have. They give you things to do. Obviously, is Bayside private or public golf?
Private.
Oh, is it private? Okay.
Yeah. So you have to be a member in the community to go play.
Yeah. Or you need to go down there and make some friends.
Yeah.
Get some good friends at Bayside. So that way you can go golf with your buddies at Bayside. But you have that right around the corner. But then if you were to come down and make a left on the Lighthouse Road, I mean, you're going to be right down into kind of the thick of, beach life. Mm-hmm. So there's so much once you get down here, along, Fenwick, go a little bit farther, you got Bethany that's up there. And then you can go south if you want to go down into Maryland, go into Ocean City. Mm-hmm. So, it really is a great location. Harpoon Hannah's is, that's got to be maybe 10, 15 minutes away.
I love that restaurant.
I know. Everyone, that's kind of like one of those things, like when you're down there, like you have to go to Harpoon Hannah's.
Yeah,
like
it's a great view.
So, well, and it's a little bit of a different lifestyle. I always call it the north and south, and I use like the inlet, the Indian River Inlet is kind of like the line. Mm-hmm. And I always, go to the southern part of coastal Delaware, like it's so south. But when you get into the southern part, it's just a different vibe down there than it is up here. Mm-hmm. And it's beachier feeling that's down there, which is really cool. And then obviously when you have communities that have water access, I mean, that, steps it up that much more. Mm-hmm. So far when we look at the community, let's go back to the floor plan here. And launch on this was like Q2 of last year?
Yeah, at the beginning of this year, so closer to like April of this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we've been not quite a year. Sales have obviously been coming in. I've always found sales are always a little bit slower in the beginning when there aren't sticks in the ground. Mm-hmm. When it's just a pile of dirt. It's really hard for people to envision, the community, and especially being that's a very beachy area down there. So now that sticks are in the ground and we'll be coming back into that Q1, Q2 of 2025, I'm anticipating that this thing is really gonna be taking off. But this is a great sales flow. What have been people's biggest thing that they've been looking for in a home and in a community that have bought in there?
So the water access has been one of the main, driving factors why people end up choosing Bridgewater. Mm-hmm. It's interesting enough, most of my homeowners in the community already own a home within a 10-mile radius of Bridgewater.
Really?
And they own a home in the Selbyville, Frankford, Delaware area, and they also own a home somewhere in New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, upstate.
Okay.
And their goal is to sell both and make Bridgewater their full-time home. So a lot of my homeowners are coming from right around the area.
So they're already familiar with the area. They're just looking, maybe it's time to retire. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And maybe they had something that was a little smaller or something that was fine. And now they want something that's, more kind of bigger.
Absolutely.
Wow. I didn't. And the water has been the big draw. I know I have, where are they? They're in 64. My clients, I think they're in 64. I mean, they came over from like the Maryland area, and that's, I found when I was on the builder side that a lot, and speaking on averages here, a lot of people from the Maryland, Virginia area tend to kind of go on the southern side. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tend to go on the northern side. There's obviously some spillover in both directions. But I think part of it is kind of it's that trip coming from, whether it be from home to your secondary home, or if it's you're gonna make this your primary residence, your friends and family that are gonna become visiting you, how's their commute gonna be like to come see you? So if you're coming over the Bay Bridge, people tend to kind of go more towards the south because they're coming over. I guess that's 404 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then kind of, coming through the countryside to get down there. And people coming from up north are like, hey, let's stop at the first town and not have to drive down Route 1 to get down to Bethany. But no, it's good to see and hear that. I think that the community in general, offers a lot outside of, it has its great amenities, which is fantastic, but it has great local amenities. And by that, I mean, you don't have to drive 15, 20 minutes to get gas. You don't have to drive 15 minutes to go to the grocery store. You got a Harris Teeter right down the street, which is right outside of Bayside, which for people that don't know Harris Teeter, which a lot of people do, but if they don't, it's not quite a Wegmans, but it's like Wegman-ish.
Yeah, it's like an upgraded grocery store.
Yeah. And it's nice to have that, and you've got plenty of restaurants. Bayside, in and of itself, what it brought to the area forced a lot of stuff to build up around it because of its size. I mean, I don't know how many units are in that community. I mean, it's just massive. I mean, it is.
Well, Bayside's also been ongoing for years and years. So, but we've sold that community, so we're done there.
Yes.
But it's interesting though, because when you're driving to Bridgewater, you almost do feel like you're a little bit secluded. Like sometimes you take a back road and you're like, where am I right now?
Yeah.
And then you come out to 54 and you've got, this whole civilian life. So it feels like you're on the outs of things, but you take a quick 5-minute drive and you're right in the main town.
Yeah.
So that's
I mean, you literally, if you were looking at the community and coming out of it, and you made a right instead of a left.
Yeah.
like you're in like wooded country road.
Yeah.
And you're like, how far? Like, what am I, like 40 minutes from the beach? And I think that is what kind of adds that charm to the area.
Yeah.
It also gives you a lot of outlets for utilizing back roads to get around stuff. You're not forced to use. It's nice up here. We have some back roads that you can use that run parallel to Route 1, but like there's only like one route. So like once the vacationers kind of figure it out, now those roads get a little bit more backed up. Whereas down there you have more access to kind of navigate in and around and using multiple back roads. But it's weird the vibe that you get. It really is. I don't know how to explain it.
It's special,
It's super quiet. It's just like I'm just driving down some like really it's not deserted. I mean, there's homes like on either side of the road as you're going down, but it's quiet. You don't feel like you're.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and you make a left and you go down. And you're like, now I feel like I'm in beach town. So it's neat that you can be so close to both settings. I always say that about just kind of coastal Delaware in general. It's so unique because a lot of like shore points, if you go to like Ocean City, Maryland, or New Jersey or whatever, it is, number one, you're on an island a lot of times. So you got to go over bridges and whatnot. But here, you can be on the beach, you can be in the country as in like farm, or you can be in the country as in like trees, all within like 20 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
Like you can be like the Redden Forest and then like go to like the beach and then like be on like cornfields.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's neat. So like for someone that's looking for different types of a lifestyle, whether you're looking for like, I'm going to be in the thick of it, in the middle of all like the beach life. Cool. We got that on the north side, on the south side, and everywhere in between. And then, hey, I want to be in like really rural, like open, like rolling pastures.
Yeah.
Cool. We got that too. And no, I want to like buy a piece of land and like cut out in the middle, like this pod in the middle of trees. You can do that too.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times, in other areas, I want the trees, you got to go to the Poconos, or I want the cornfields, you got to go to Lancaster. I want the beach, you got to go to Ocean City, New Jersey. So it's neat that you can just kind of pick and choose what you want here, and you can be as in the middle of it as you want to, or as remote as you want to. We went out to Salisbury yesterday. My daughters were in a pageant, and of course, because they're always doing something, and like just driving down, and it's like, wow, there's number one, there's still just so much land. Like people always talk about, the development that's in Delaware. I mean, if you just zoom out just a little bit, there is so much land. I mean, there's so much land this year, which is super cool. But man, there's just like it gets remote, pretty quickly.
Yeah,
So,
I'm very familiar. I grew up in Salisbury.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I grew up in Salisbury, and now I live in Bishopville, Maryland, which is about 15 minutes away from Bridgewater. Bridgewater. So when I talk about it, I always physically, I'm like, oh my God, you're gonna love it. You have to live here,
because you lived it.
I live here myself, and I would, build a home in Bridgewater. It's a beautiful area, and I live right down the road. So.
Yeah. So in Bridgewater, I want to look at this also, like kind of some price points.
So our pricing, we start in the mid 600s.
That's not bad.
It's pretty much across the board for all of our communities, where we have an average amount that buyers are investing in optional selections and choices and personal features to upgrade their space. So on average, usually it's between like 150 to 200.
I find that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
really accurate. For really quick math, look at the base price, add $150 to 200 onto it, and that's going to get you in that pretty accurate.
Yeah,
ballpark.
just a quick pricing, and then most of the time when we sit down and we actually start going through the different options and selections. If somebody's, we really like the Monterey or the Stonefield and we want to do a second level, once we price those in, you could be anywhere between $750 to $850, even some in the 900s. We've got quite the range in Bridgewater because some of those premiums were different than others. So our average home site premium right now is between 0 to 20,000.
It's actually not bad.
It's not bad at all. Yeah,
it's really not. Yeah. I mean, considering there's some communities up here where at like 60 to 70. So that's actually, it's really good.
You were going to see more of that for the homes that were along the creek.
Sure.
And
that's
then,
expected.
Yeah. And then once we get to the future phase, we've got some sites that back up to trees. And then beyond those trees, there's the wetlands and then there's the creek. So I'm expecting the same thing for those future phase home site premiums.
Yeah. So you're looking so even on the high side for the quick math, $1.5 million on if you were to go on your biggest size and then on the smallest size, you'd be roughly 8-10, for simple, again, simple math. But the biggest thing that I tell my clients this all the time, and I think this is really, really important, and I know it always sounds like I always, am like, pulling on the Schell Brothers train, but it's I think it's just part of the experience, again, for my clients I really want them to have. And it's something that I think is a bit unique for you guys in your process, is that you take clients through the pricing step, and then you kind of, you step back and you allow them to have their space. It's not like a used car salesman type of thing of like, okay, now it's time to buy. Now you're ready. Now, it's, let's go through it. Let's build out your dream home. Maybe throw in some wish list items because you guys do deliver that line items. And I talk about this all the time. It's line items so they can see the cost for every item that they put in there. And then they can go back and digest it. Without having that pressure, that, salesy pressure. And because, and I don't know your sales process, but I assume you guys are just like, we believe in our product and you're going to come buy it when you're ready. So
well, I'm also a firm believer, if somebody is coming in and out shopping for a new home, we are here to help. We are here to provide a service for you, and if buying a new home is the right decision for you and your family, we are here to do that for you. So I don't ever see myself as a salesperson. I see myself as a resource of information, and if somebody wants to make a change in their life, I'm here to make it happen for you. And sometimes it's asking certain questions and kind of unsolving, what's going on in your life that's got you out shopping. And just kind of highlighting that and saying, okay, well, there's a valid reason that you're here. Let's see what we can do to change it.
So. Yeah, it's funny. I have, and this may be why things always tend to click so well. I have a very similar process and discussion that I have with my clients is that, my job, my clients, I always say, you probably are at where you're at because you're a pretty smart person and you did well in your life. You made smart decisions. So like, I don't need to treat you like you're a dummy. Like you're a smart person. The difference is this isn't what you do every day, day in and day out. So if you got to where you are because you're an engineer or you're a construction person, whatever it is, the trade that you're extremely good at, I'm not good at that, but I'm really, really good at this. So my job is to educate you.
Yeah.
My job is to help shortcut. Let's, decipher and get out all of the other communities, builders, whatever it might be. And if through that process, we find that Schell's the right one, or K-Hub or Insight or whatever it is the right builder, then we start down that path of what fits them. But otherwise, they can go out and spend the next decade trying to, learn everything that I've learned, or I can just be the resource. Let me educate you, and you guys use your intelligence to say what fits me. Then we come meet someone like you, and then you educate them based upon the product. And then, again, and we just, I think that's why things click so well, because you guys understand that you guys understand to have a similar process, kind of how I do with my clients. And, you don't have to beat them down. They're smart people, and they just need the time to digest and understand like what is fitting our lifestyle and what we're looking to have. And then, and then when it feels right, then it's really simple for them.
Yeah, that's another thing. When someone comes in and we're shopping other builders, we're checking all these resales out. Kudos to you for doing that, because when it comes down to making your decision, you're going to feel all the more confident because you already know what's out there. You know what your choices are. Yep. So
I highly recommend for anyone, whether you're doing this on yourselves, obviously, ultimately, I would rather them call me and let me help them through it. But if they're coming down, they're going to do this by themselves. Don't do more than 3 things a day.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
People that go out and or if they have an agent that's helping them and they're taking them out and looking at 10
full Schell tour,
or like 10 resales, and then we'll stop by communities in between. They're going to go home just so confused.
Yeah.
How do you ever absorb that much data and information? And they start to make up homes, they make up communities, because their brain is just like exploding, and they're going to go home more confused than they were when they came down. So limit it to a certain small number of things to look at per day and really focus on it. Spend the time to absorb the information.
Yeah.
Go back to your hotel, have some dinner, let it kind of go over your brochures.
Yeah, what resonated with you.
Yep, and then start the next day on a clean slate, ready to go. And some of the stuff that you learned the day before will tie over.
And prompt more questions as well.
Yep.
And Schell Brothers is great because we have a resource called our online sales consultant. So when somebody goes onto our website and makes an initial inquiry, like where do I start, we have a sole position just to help narrow it down for you, so you're not spending all day in Delaware and going all different places.
Yep.
So
no, and that's I know the one, I'm not sure if the second one's still doing it. They're fantastic.
Grace is
absolutely fantastic. And that is it's a critical role, and you have to really kind of know and understand. And that's kind of where kind of coming way back to when we were saying before, it's like how being a specialist in a category, is important. Because if I were to ask you questions about Welch's Pond, you're like, I don't know. I don't sell Welch's Pond. I'm not posted up there every day. I'm not in their model. I don't know the community. I don't know how much home site premiums are. I do, because I, focus on all of new construction within Coastal Delaware. But again, that's why, and I even want to get even more hyper-focused, kind of not quite to the point to how you are, to where I have a person per community, but, a person per builder, so that each person, and then we have our collaborative meetings of like, hey, what's new with this builder? Hey, and kind of go through the team. Yeah. So we're all educated, but there's someone that has that fine focus, like, the general idea of everything within Schell, but your primary focus is just on the estates of Bridgewater. So I think that's important, and Grace does a fantastic job of having that overall knowledge and then kind of focusing based upon that, and then sending them to me, and then I take the thing. No, it's a good thing, and I hope that people that are watching this understand the value that you bring to the table, and and again, being that some builders, they do what's called cross selling, to where they allow people to sell, their salespeople to sell in other communities, and I just don't know how you can be the expert, in your community, know how much all your site premiums are, and like what's new and what's coming up with future phases and blah blah blah, and again, taking that client as they walk in, and saying to them, maybe right now isn't the right time. I think what you're saying, you might want to wait till the next phase. And I hate to do that, because the way that you eat and put food on the table is, but you're ultimately not just trying to get a sale. You're trying to be that consultant and helping that person through the process from an honest standpoint, and not being that used car salesman of, let's price out your home. Now you're ready to buy. Let's buy. It's, type of things. And I think that's important. And that goes obviously for you, but I think that goes for pretty much the whole sales team. Schell does a fantastic job of kind of picking out, and making sure that the people they bring on board understand that philosophy. But I think, the Estates of Bridgewater is a solid one. Again, price points, in the base price points starting in the 610s up to 800s. Are there, and I may be like really crossing my fingers here, but I probably know the answer, basement opportunities or no?
No,
Yes.
no basement opportunities. All the homes in Bridgewater will be on a crawl space.
Yep.
Aside from the two is the Catalina and the Sanibel are on slabs because they're 3-story floor plans.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So no piling on slab.
No pilings,
Gotcha.
yeah. So it'll be a slab and then the 3-level home.
And for anyone, if you've never been in, again, I've only been in the Catalina, which is a super cool floor plan.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Really, really, really cool floor plan. That downstairs rec room and everything, and especially
it's like a basement. Yeah.
It really is. Yeah, except you have more natural light because you have windows around it.
Yeah, because you're not on the ground.
Yeah, it's awesome, and you can walk right out onto if you have an outdoor space or whatever. But if you have either a natural or if you have on the Derrickson, I almost said Dickerson again, the Derrickson. When you're up on the third story, if you have that balcony that's up there, it's stunning. It really is.
Gorgeous views.
That's great. Well, hopefully, 2024 rounds out well, get a couple more in there, and then 2025 really hit the ground running. And I think that, again, with sticks in the ground, Muddy Boot Tour or
Hard Hat
Tour is going to be
on this upcoming Sunday. So that is
this
the
Sunday.
12th, I believe.
Okay. And if people want to go, how do they do that?
Sorry, it's the 15th.
The 15th.
Yeah.
The 15th.
The
so
15th of
Sunday the 15th. Hard Hat Tour at the Estates of Bridgewater, and if they want to go, do they just show up, or do they have to sign up, or what's the process?
It would be RSVP because we are going to be walking through homes under construction.
You need someone.
We need some hard hats.
Yeah.
So I would just need to know how many hard hats to provide.
Okay, and the best way of doing that is email or text.
Yeah, reach out to me or our sales team, which includes Natalie Hay and Jay Hawk.
Okay.
So we're a team at Bridgewater. So reaching out to any of us. We'll be able to get you all set up.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah. I think that's great. Thank you for coming on. I think this is great.
Thank you so much
Let's
for having me.
do this again as more sticks are kind of going up and as things are progressing.
Yeah.
And kind of keep everyone in the loop.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thanks.